Rob Demovsky from the Press-Gazette reporting once again from Palm Beach, Florida, site of the NFL annual meetings. We're inside today because it's too windy outside. But today the meetings wrapped up with voting on rule and bylaw changes, which we'll get to in a minute. But the big thing was the NFC Coaches Breakfast, which for Packers fans included an hour with Coach Mike McCarthy. He touched on many subjects. One thing he talked about, got a lot of questions about the Giants game, the playoff game, and he was asked whether he regretted resting Aaron Rodgers in the regular season finale against Detroit, and he said no. He said he would do it again. There are other preparation things that he hinted that he would have changed, didn't give details. But mostly he talked about the defense, the shortcomings of the defense, not only in that game but throughout the season, and something that he needs to address and Dom Capers needs to address. Dom Capers called it the most frustrating year he's ever had as a defensive coordinator. Among other topics, McCarthy hinted that both Chad Clifton and Donald Driver, aging veterans, have a decent chance of returning next season. When many thought those guys might end up being released, I still think there's a decent chance that they will be released, but McCarthy seemed to leave the door open for it. Now, as for the rules changes, a couple major ones. The overtime rules that were invoked for the playoffs 2 years ago will now be used in all overtime games in the regular season as well. They wanted to get the same rules to apply for regular season and playoffs. There was a proposal for the replay decisions to be made by the official in the booth rather than the referee on the field, but that was shot down. However, all turnover plays will be automatically reviewed, much like scoring plays were reviewed last year. Now, the Packers did vote against one rule that was proposed that got voted in. It was adding defensive linemen who are being crackback blocked, adding them to the defenseless player category. Now, the Packers voted against that because they used the cut blocking scheme in the zone blocking running game, but that did pass. There's still to be news determined probably the rest of this week, early next week. Nick Collins' future is up in the air. He's scheduled to have his medical exam soon this week, but McCarthy smartly said that just because Nick Collins gets cleared this week, and which is they expect his doctors to give him a clean bill of health, does not necessarily mean that's the end of the process. Rather, that's a starting point for discussing whether they will bring Nick Collins back. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on here as we go forward the next couple of weeks. From Palm Beach, Florida, I'm Rob Demovsky.